It's time once again for another edition of Talk to Me. And now, here's Emmy himself, 8-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, Maynard Eaton.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Talk to Me, another edition, another week. It's the first week of spring, though, and instead of talking politics, we're going to talk one of my favorite subjects, beer. Joining me, of course, is Dennis Malcolm Byron, a former journalist, a colleague of mine, but also known as Ale Sharpton, and probably the most prominent black presence in the field of beer. Dennis, thank you for joining us, man.
It's an honor, Mr. Emmy, man. You're always been an inspiration to me, man. Thank you for having me on your show. It's come full circle.
Yes, it is. Well, you actually have your own beer. We'll talk about that in a minute. But tell me, Ale Sharpton, playoff Al Sharpton, I take it, or how did you develop that?
Leaving the Atlanta Voice, where I was the editor, was kind of going to that lifestyle kind of theme. And I've always written about beer for a long time. I wanted to create an identity, though, that was very memorable from a name standpoint. I was the only person as a journalist, an expert, to actually be a brand, and created a logo myself. And I needed a catchy name, but also one that marks passion, hints that I'm a brother, and at the same time paying homage to whoever I could. And Al Sharpton, with his passion for what he did with civil rights, was just a perfect fit. So at 2 a.m. one night, after two special beers I had a little bit of inspiration. I said, Ale Sharpton. It says beer, it says passion, and it pays homage to Al Sharpton. So it was a no-brainer. And after that, Dennis Malcolm Byron, I love the name. Thank you, Dad. And named me after Malcolm X, but that sounds like a law firm. So I went ahead and did Ale Sharpton for a little more catchiness.
Listen, you're also becoming, as I said earlier, the most prominent African-American presence in the field of beer. You took us shopping on a video we'd like people to look at right now.
Yo, it's your homie Ale Sharpton, cruising for a bruising once again. This time we're going shopping. My homies got me a gift card. They know I love selection. I'm gonna take my time in the brew spot and pick out some of my best beers. So with that, they said go to Local Vine. It's the joint, you will love it. Say no more, I said. Give me that gift card, I'm going shopping. So let's roll and see what they're talking about. Is that we gotta go, Bruno? Oh, jeez. What about all this stuff right here?
We also get all that word craft With over 2,000 different beers to choose from, I'm gonna be here for a while. But this part right here, Georgia Craft, I gotta represent the state a little bit, and you're gonna probably find some of the hardest to find beer, of course in the state, but all over the nation. So I'm definitely gonna peep some of these out here and see what I can grab. Oh wow, to get comfortable, and that's for a good cause. These are hard to get. A lot of people have to go, and they collaborate with Russian River on this one, so this is a go. Yep, super fresh. I'm gonna grab one of these. What I love, pick a 6. Hella indecisive. You have this right here, got the Local Vine joint. You just start loading it up. That way, if you have commitment issues, unless you know what the beer you want 6 of them, go ahead and mix it up. That way you can try different ones. That way when you buy another beer, you will know exactly what you want. If you want to get a 6-pack or whatever the case is. You get this series, is dope with Monday Night. These you get at the brewery, at the garage, or like they have them here, they got them available, which is crazy. I'm gonna get a fistful of cake. This is one of the most famous ones that they just came out with, but already causing a lot of pub. No pun intended. When you see cans like this, we have the label like that, but then you see a lot of the the aluminum over here and all that, and then the label like that. These are almost like one and dones.
or else you would have it more in the packaging like that where it's covering it all up and stuff. They could put a little more time into it, but with this, we gotta get this out. It's ready to rock and roll. Got the label. You see a lot of metal, you might want to grab one of those. What I also like is how they have it per can and then they have it per pack. So there's a 4-pack of $12.99 or you have a $3.99. It'll save you on your math. A lot of times they'll just have the pack. You don't know how much it's gonna be individually. That's really dope. So even for doing that, I'm gonna head and grab one of these made with the sake yeast. Okay. Another thing to do, especially when you're getting IPAs, is look on the bottom of the can or wherever they have the date. It shows you what date it was canned on. Usually you want something when it comes to IPAs, really within a month. You could do 2 months, but not more than that, I would say, to really get the hop presence in both the aroma and the flavor. Hops tend to mellow out after a while. You want IPAs bright. But with stouts, no, that you have to worry about that as much. And they age with stouts, we can have different flavors as an ongoing process, which is actually kind of fun.
Just according to your shopping spree, there's an assortment of beers to choose from. I happen to be an IPA guy, but your new beer that you've created is a stout you're telling me about. How does one choose? How do you know what to get?
Oh, man. Yeah, definitely. I'm an IPA guy actually myself, but I chose to create a stout because I thought it was a little more, it defied the myth that all beers are bitter. And I created one that's more of a dessert kind of tasting profile. So it's made with dark chocolate, vanilla, and it's more roasty, more coffee-like, and I think it'll help transition more non-naysayers of beer and people who are not really knowledgeable of beer to be like, wow, I didn't know beer could be chocolate, vanilla, and it's been a beautiful situation. That's the beer Piano Keys. But IPAs are mine, and I like the bitterness. I like the different varieties of hops. Hops are one of the most important ingredients to beer, and it's really accentuated in beer, and it could go from piney to grassy to citrusy. It has all these different tasting notes, and it's like a scientific culinary thing that you do with hops to create a certain type of smell and beer tasting profile. So it's really interesting, and IPAs are just so wonderful and bright and aggressively hopped so that you can get a lot of different aromas. So beers is fantastic. There's so many different flavors it can emulate. And IPAs are just my favorite. They're light, and I can drink a lot of them and have a good time, but you know your limits. Where stouts sometimes can range in ABV to be up there in 14% and more. So you got to watch those and drink within, small moderation.
Those are one of your specialty drinks that you were talking about earlier?
Yes, absolutely. This is the beer I created. I know you're about to go into that, but yeah, this is called Piano Keys. I'm the pour it too, man. And just out of honor for you, man. I appreciate it if I could. Is that all right? This actually.
But Piano Keys is political as well. You were asked to create your own beer. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Cheers to you.
Thank you.
Yes, so I've been working in the beer business and writing about it for Hip Hop Magazine starting out in 1990, I'd say 1994, 95. And I've been kind of a beer authority ever since. And I've been also about diversity. There weren't a lot of people my color not only owning anything, but writing about it or representing any beer companies. And I wanted to change that, especially in Atlanta, which is one of the most diverse cities in the world. My aim and goal was to educate and also educate us about the history of beer. And that includes that we were the first to brew it, we meaning Africans. They just found an Egyptian brewery last week that was found underground by archaeologists that dates back 5,000 years in Egypt. So we are the creators of beer, and specifically ales to start out, and it was crafted by women. So I teach many things like that. But then when I became Ale Sharpton, my name got out there even more. And New Belgium, one of the biggest breweries in the world, based here in Colorado, reached out to me and asked me to help them and be a consultant for diversity. They agreed with me that the landscape, the ownership, the marketing, the clientele needs to be more diversified, and they want to know if I could help them make that a possibility. So they flew me out to Colorado. I went and sat with them, and we talked, Fort Collins to be exact. And I was sitting at the table with the CEO, the head of finance, the head of marketing, and they had their pens and pads out ready to rock and roll and want to know what my suggestion was as a consultation. I said to them, let's make a beer. I'm going to take my shot to make beer with one of the best breweries in the world. And they said, why make a beer? I said, beer brings good people together. It brings conversation. And we need to talk about how we can make this a more diversified landscape in every sense of the word regarding beer. They said they loved it. And they said, man, now we got to come up with a beer. I said, I already have that. I'm an artist. I had it sketched out. I had the name. And they're like, what's the name? I said, Piano Keys. It's going to be an Imperial Stout. They're like, wow, that's awesome. Why stout? I said, because y'all don't make them that often. And a stout, again, what I explained before about it being more transitional for people who don't know a lot about beer. And I want to include chocolate. I got real political with it now, man. I wanted chocolate. I wanted vanilla coming straight from Uganda to represent the motherland. I wanted some Atlanta representation, so they prepared the cocoa nibs here in Atlanta at a place called Chocolato inside Krog Street. So we got a little Atlanta representation, and it was a beautiful, beautiful beer. It came out in draft first. Sold out in Atlanta. Then we came out with cans, 200 cases. Sold pretty much in Georgia, sold out. And that was 2000, and they come out now, the next batch. And I designed the cans.
You're coming out next week, too, with your
yeah.
You're coming out next week, right?
March 29th, and it's going to be national in the holidays, but right now it's still going to be solely available in Georgia. But other states, you could buy it via mail, and they'll send it to you. So there's like 10 states you could do that. But then we're going to work on getting it national.
Well, let me ask you something. Wine experts are known as sommeliers. Mm-hmm. Beer experts are known as cicerones. Now, now that you have your own beer, is that what you are?
A cicerone is actually, you're called that on certain levels, taking a test. To test your knowledge, to smell, trying beer. So it's almost like a course you have to take in order to be called that. And I know I could probably do really well with it, but I never had the time to study. A lot of people take off months to take that course. And I'm always going to consider taking it, but a cicerone I have a lot of respect for. And there's server cicerones, and then there's like the top of the line cicerones that they're different levels. So I respect a lot of those who earn that right. But I'm just a beer expert, and I know my stuff, be it art, be it beer, be it all the history. So I spread the knowledge another way. But yeah, those are cicerones. It's like a sommelier has to probably go through this testing as well.
Dennis, I used to be a Heineken drinker. Then I ran into Monday Night Brewing, and it's changed my taste buds forever. What is it about beer? Why all of a sudden I've got the belly to go with it now too? But beer has really captured my attention. And it seems to have been popularized more so over the past few years. Beer is popular now, is it not? Much more so?
Mm-hmm. It is. What has happened is a lot of laws are changing to give people the opportunity to be entrepreneurs and open their breweries. And with all those small breweries that come out, thousands are coming out of the woodworks now because beer is becoming more broadly used and poured, not only in breweries, but restaurants, more commercials, a lot more social media has helped boom it. And that's craft beer. So you had Heineken and like Budweiser and a lot of those big breweries dominated the airwaves on television. Now with social media and the spirit of entrepreneurialism and seeing different people drinking beer, there's a lot more that's going into it where craft brewers can be more experimental. With the laws, I helped change one of the laws that was significant here in Georgia, HB 645 back in 2004 that heightened the alcohol limit in Georgia from 6%, which is very limiting, where you couldn't do a lot of different beers and experimentations. But heightening that alcohol limit, you could do a lot more with fruits, with sugars, which heighten alcohol, but also present a lot more different flavors and varieties, from IPAs to stouts to wheat beers. The list goes on. Lambic, sours. It's amazing right now. So it's a movement that's happening. And now the movement is going to more diversity, more women to be involved, and people learning more about beer and restaurants. I pair beer with food. I do that. I do consulting for restaurants, and I use a lot of knowledge from my past family and ancestors who were all chefs. My great-grandfather was Marcus Garvey's chef on the way over here from Jamaica. Yeah. And my sister's a big chef, Malcolm Byron. Now there's black breweries that are huge, and Atlanta has the highest concentration of black ownership and a black, just a union a union of all of us coming together and supporting each other. And Atlanta's I think, the highest concentrated city for Black people, looking out for each other. We started a community called Leaders of the Brew School that's helping each other. We're uplifting each other. We're utilizing each other's resources to help each other out. Media. There's different companies called Drought Season, for instance, who's pushing not only apparel, but the message that Black is Black history, that beer is Black history. And I talk about it a lot. So we support each other. There's Our Culture Brewing. There's Conzo Brewing that is now existing and pouring in different places that are Black owned. It goes on and on. Soul Brothers is coming out. It's amazing. Down Home is one of the first Black breweries ever owned in the U.S. that's here right in Atlanta. So it's amazing what's happening right now.
But breweries are proliferating all across the country, are they not? I mean, you see them everywhere popping up. Are they threatening the major Budweisers and other major beer companies? Are they a threat to them at all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's almost controversial in a lot of ways because those big companies are buying the smaller ones to kind of, you can't beat them, buy them. but it's so, some of those are giving people opportunities, though, to be on both sides where they've been working their butts off for years trying to get that craft brewery off the ground and make the little bit of money they had. Then they see these big checks, an opportunity to retire early and get their employees the money that they deserve. And ownership is still kind of sometimes kind of spread out. So I'm not mad at some of the people who are doing it, but also, sometimes people look at InBev as the evil empire, but at the same time, beer is just getting out there more and more. So, hey, competition brings out more quality product.
You've become a premier cultural pundit. What's the story you say about beer now? What's the news? What's important about beer? You've been writing about it for years, but it seems like it's at its heights now. Am I correct?
Yeah, it is. It's the people are saying they're waiting for the bubble to burst, but that's not going to happen for a while because there's more diversity coming with beer. Just like food, you can imagine just only England or one of these other European places making beer. You're only used to that one flavor, but then when you come with Jamaican kind of spices and things with food, it gets better. So there's Jamaican food, Puerto Rican food, there's African, all these different countries from Africa, there's Latin food. So it's really more of that happening with beer. And then it's our experiences where we want to add different spices and fruits to beer. So it's ongoing. There's more experimentation. There's peanut butter made with beer now. There's all these different spices, the aforementioned Conzo, using a lot of spices, especially from Africa, that they're adding to the beer. Cardamom is big. So it's really an amazing, fun thing that's going on. And I think it's here to stay.
And with your new beer itself, Piano Keys, you become a leading spokesman for the industry throughout the country, are you not? Mm-hmm. I mean, how many
Yes, sir.
Ale Sharpton around?
There's only one, and that's me. I'm proud to do that. I had the beautiful opportunity for Al Sharpton to reach out to me, and he called me while he was on the way here. Forbes did an article on me in Forbes magazine. He read it on the plane on the way here to Atlanta. He had both his PR firms reach out to me. I woke up with that message in my Instagram saying, "Hey, would you mind if you met with Al Sharpton? He would love to meet you." I said, let me check my schedule. Of course I'm meeting Al Sharpton. So I met him at his office on the West End. We talked for a good hour, and he was awesome. I brought my wife with me and my father, and we just chopped it up, man. And he's a great dude, and it was just an honor. It was full circle. And after he put on my Instagram, Real Ale Sharpton, a picture of him holding up my sticker that is very popular. It was an amazing experience, man, and it just was rewarding. And he really appreciated it. You want to hear my story? I want to hear his story. You want to hear my story about how I got to be one of the only Black faces to come out here and have the goal and the the passion to make a difference. And it's really coming full circle now. So it's awesome.
We applaud you, my friend. We really do. I remember you just were battling each other in the newsroom, but now you've taken that craft to much higher heights. I applaud you. I really do. And the
thank you. I applaud you. It's Piano Keys. It's called Piano Keys, and it's made by New Belgium, and it's going to be available in stores. I want to give a shout out to Brewgether, which is a foundation I created along with Piano Keys that helps fund different smaller organizations that need the money, nonprofits. We mess with Watershed Atlanta, West what is it? It's West Side Atlanta Watershed. We looked them up. We looked out for Hey Atlanta. We're doing a lot of different projects, helping out with Navigate, which is also helping out youngsters who want to learn the culinary industry. So we're making money. We're helping out everybody we can with proceeds. And shout out to Brew Together as far as that's going on. And definitely shout out to you and Atlanta Voice to give me an opportunity to be an editor when I worked with you there, Atlanta Tribune, and the beautiful Black organizations around the world that are definitely making a difference too.
Well, we salute you as a cultural ambassador. Really do, my man.
Salute. Thank you so much for having me.
Ale Sharpton, Dennis, Malcolm Byron.
Right.
Congratulations, my
That's
friend.
right.
This has been Talk to Me. We'll see you next week.
God bless.